United Kingdom leaving.
Since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done on October the 31st so that this country can move on.
Sir, my amendment is that Mr. President should be invited to come and explain the situation for the Nigerian government to stop killing its people and let...
It's a beautiful morning and the beginning of a new working week. It's time also to talk about politics. Well, in Nigeria, we'll keep talking about politics because politics cuts across all spheres of life. Even in your kitchen, there is politics inside. All right, the first thing on our agenda this morning is G5 governors meet in Makurdi as Adebotu denies asking Wike to leave PDP. Then the second on our agenda is Senator Dino Melaye ask NDLEA to take Tinubu Atiku for drug tests. And the third on our agenda is can kicks as Abuja pastors endorse Tinubu. Then the next is political parties, CSOs tackle INEC over public view of results. The issue is this: should the public be aware of all the things happening in INEC? The next is towards 2023. Peter Obi's popularity does not worry me, says the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar. Those are the issues yearning for discussions this morning. When we come back, we'll introduce our guest and give you the breakdown of the stories. You don't want to move a muscle. Stay with us because open conversation. We'll be right back.
But I remain committed to the United Kingdom leaving.
Since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done on October the 31st so that this country can move on.
My amendment that Mr. President should be invited to come and explain the situation for the Nigerian government to stop killing its people and let...
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
you human
on the point of order.
Honourable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have
fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today. Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the... That is amazing. Honorable you human
On the point of order.
Honorable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
I remain committed to the United Kingdom leaving.
Since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done on October the 31st so that this country can move on.
Sir, my amendment is that Mr. President should be invited to come and explain the situation for the Nigerian government to stop killing its people and let
How time flies. Is now 18 weeks to the general elections in Nigeria. We are actually keeping you up to speed with things happening all over Nigeria. First on our lineup this morning, it's G5 governors meet in Makurdi as Adeboto denies asking Wike to leave PDP. Now, the governor, Nyesom Wike's led G5 governors, well, as you have it, have stormed Makurdi, the Benue state capital, ahead of Monday's commissioning of some projects executed by Governor Samuel Otom to flag off the 2023 elections campaigns in the state. The governors who were Sunday evening received by Governor Otom at the Makurdi airport included Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, Okeze Ekpanzu of Abia, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu, and Seyi Makinde of Oyo State. The five influential governors are leading the call for the resignation of the national chairman of the PDP to pave the way for the emergence of a southern chairman in line with zoning arrangements of the party. Meanwhile, they are meeting as a group for the first time in Benue State. It was gathered that aside commissioning a project, the five governors would also hold scheduled routine meetings to fine-tune their strategies ahead of the 2023 elections. At the time of this report, the five governors were already in a meeting at the recently commissioned Ape Ako Lodge ahead of the state banquet put together by the Benue state government for the August visitors. Now, factional governorship. Meanwhile, we have the factional governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State, Ladi Adebotu, who has described as allegation that he asks Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike and some other persons to leave the party as hasty, unfounded mere attention seekers. Now, Adebutu was said to have urged Wike and other party members to leave the party if they could not work with Ayu. Now, I'm quoting them. It says, while we will not wish to dignify the statement with a response, it is necessary to set the record straight so as to clarify the misconception that the public may harbor. It is saddening that a leading fellow like Ugochinyere will jump on a misleading story headline published by some media to discredit and cause disaffection for our principle without verifying authenticity of the statement being made. Rather, Ugochinyere had chosen to join the bandwagon in creating unnecessary tension and unwarranted cheap publicity. We wish to put in straight or right perspective that the alleged statement was directed to dissenting and agents of opposition party APC within Ogun PDP, who had chosen not to submit to the PDP National Working Committee leadership and pick illegalities as roadmap. That's the issue we have to discuss this morning. Joining me to the Justice today, straight and serious issues affecting our landscape, is a socio-political analyst and also a community leader in person of Chief Loveday Okere. Good morning to you, Chief Loveday.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Nandi.
All right, next on my agenda is a stalwart of the, is also one who has followed political proceedings for some time right now, and he's been at the forefront of matters. Stephen Diegbara, good morning to you.
It's always a pleasure, Nandi.
Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, it's one issue that I really find quite disturbing for some people. And it's been some back and forth. And the G5 governors are still holding their stand so firmly about the resignation of a person of Yochayu, the national chairman of the PDP. Now, we see them meeting in Makudi. And obviously, there must be one project or the other which will be tailored as the front headline. We have some other meetings. One thing or the other linking them together. Well, let's see. Before we go to Adebutu's matter and the issues raised about Ugochinyere and the rest of them, let me have your say on this right now. It was a reaction towards Stephen Diegbara, their meeting and their firmness towards what they want in the PDP.
Okay, I don't understand what this too much noise, so to speak, about the G5, what you call G5 governors within the PDP. It is quite clear that the presidential candidate of their party, the PDP, has moved on. And so when you talk about the meeting, talking about resignation of Ayu, it is also very clear that Ayu is not going to resign anymore. It is very clear that the party has moved on with their campaigns. They started off in Akwa Ibom State. They went on to Kaduna, if I'm right. And then they are also doing other things to show that they have moved on. I would like to think that the Governor Yeso Wike and those that are sympathetic to him, the Governor of Abia, Enugu, and then Fayo Gwaye of Enugu State, and then Tom of Benue and Shea Makinde, they should just have to take their decisions and move on. It is quite clear. And from the body language of these persons, these characters, you will agree that they have also, in one way or the other, trying to synergize with other opposition elements to see how they can, carve a new niche for themselves in the political arena as we move towards 2023. So, so much talk about them meeting and not meeting is, for me, is no issue, because there's no love lost amongst them anymore, and then they have to move on. Let them move on. Let them take their decisions. Let them stop talking about Ayu must resign, because obviously Ayu would not resign, and he has told the world that he's not going to resign. And Atiku has also said that he's going to move on, and he has no powers to force Ayu to resign. So they have to move on, and then stop this issue of whether we are. Let them take their decisions. Whether or not they are for the PDP, they should take their decisions. Whether or not they are going to anchor with any of the presidential candidates, APC or Labour Party, as we have seen clearly that Benue State Governor has come out to say that he prefers a Labour Party presidential candidate. Let them come out to take their decisions so that their supporters will be directed accordingly. Because as we speak today, their supporters are still neither here nor there. They don't even know what their confusions among their supporters. Only today, here we are seeing on social media, I don't know whether it is correct that some supporters of Atiku Abubakar were lynched in the Mumbai local government, his own territory, in a ethnic nationality, nation, so to speak. I don't know how true is that story, but these things must be set in proper perspective so that we will know, the supporters will know where to go to. At the moment, the supporters are so confused. Some of them may be voting for Atiku. They need that orientation from now, so that they will know that they will be able to identify with the political party that they are going to vote for. Because whether I like it or not, these people have their supporters. They have people that want to believe in Yes Owike, Sheyi Makinde, Governor Tom, and to follow their line of political thinking. But a situation where you still confuse them at this point of the day is not going to go down well with their interests, but it's going to of advantage to the PDP, because obviously they are members of the PDP, and when they go to the election ballot in the pool, they may have no other logo to identify with if they don't have to communicate that to their supporters almost now.
All right. Chief Loveday, I would like to take you on this. You've heard some of the things that Stephen had actually narrated, and he raised up one very critical matters. He says that the supporters in the PDP are actually in disarray. They're not really together because the confusion is still on. The G5 governors are still holding their stand when it comes to what the demands are in the PDP. What's your take on this?
Thank you very much, Nandi. Ordinarily, I wouldn't like to join issues with my friend Stevie Degbara on some of the things he raised here. Thank God he said, when he raised the issue of attack at Omoma, thank God he said he doesn't know how true that is. So I also want to say that until otherwise, chair people, Omoma inclusive, are civilized people and that cannot entangle themselves with such kind of allegations that he raised now. Yeah, so I hereby debunk it totally that such kind of thing does not happen in a chain and cannot happen except where, people disagree, which is very common in politics, and it could be as such. So if there's anything like that, it can also be properly investigated and then substantiated. However, I want to say that we are in political season where, in fact, this is a major transition period in Nigeria. It's not as if the man that is the president or majority of the governors are seeking second term. More than 60% of the governors have completed their terms and they are going out. So new persons are coming in. The presidents too, we are going to experience a new president. So it's a complete overhaul in our policy. So many things are going to play out. Now, talking about the G5 governors, anybody that is saying that we should stop talking about the G5 governors or whatever the agitations are is making a mistake, because the 5 names mentioned here, Yes Onwike, Autumn, Ugwanyi, Makinde, and the one from Abia State, Igbazu, they are not just ordinary politicians in Nigeria. They are governors of states. And you know the kind of power, you know the kind of followership that governors command in this country. And again, if we are people that learn from history, it will be easier for us to learn that, or to know that just less than 7 to 8 years ago, similar thing happened in this country, where 7 governors were agitated, still in PDP. And President Goodluck Jonathan, who was then the governor at that time, was visited by the likes of former President Olusegun Obasanjo and so many other personalities in the country. But the man insisted in what he was saying and said to her with the 7 governors. Now, out of the 7 governors, 5 left PDP after they must have created new PDP and joined APC. And as a result of that, APC took advantage of the exit of these 5 governors from PDP and won that election with either a bat or less than 2 million votes, of which, if these governors were with Goodluck Jonathan, as at then, I don't think that President Muhammad Buhari would have been able to defeat Goodluck Jonathan.
Are you insinuating that this may be the similar issue that may happen in 2023?
So when you look at, this is Nigeria. We have not transited to another continent or another part of the world.
Okay.
It's still in Africa and it's in Nigeria. The same characters. 80% of the persons that were there then are still here now. So I want to tell you that if I were Atiku, I would have done things differently, so that my ambition to become the president of Nigeria would have naturalized this time. But with the way Atiku is going about it, it seems that the interests of his followers, his core believers, are more important to him than his own interests as a man who has contested for this particular seat for over 4 times. So for me, joking with 4 I don't know what it would have taken him to bring these people together and bring his core followers together and say, even if it means even if it means him doing whatever before them to say, please, I have told Nigerians that I'm a unifier. And if I cannot unify you with these people, it means I have failed my primary responsibility.
So what more can you do? You know, the BOT has been there. Several groups have come to really talk with these G5 governors. They've had several meetings, closed-door meetings. It looks like it's falling on deaf ears.
Since they have been going, have Atiku come out openly to address Nigerians or address party faithful to say, this is what these G5 governors have said I should do. And this is what I have also offered to say, if you do this, then everything will happen. Atiku has been quiet. Instead, some other persons have been speaking. And Atiku has never hitting the nail on his head. As a man who is looking for something. See, if you are looking for something that is very important to you, that is coming out born out of your ambition to govern Nigeria as a president,
okay,
you can even go as far as visiting these governors personally. But you remember that Governor Wike have always said that if a man is not in power and they are so arrogant, then who knows what happened when you become the president? Who knows what happened? And I want to also tell you, Nande, that Atiku would have considered the fact that the certain governors before now have agitated that a Northerner cannot succeed a Northerner. But at the end of the day, all his history now, he is now the presidential candidate. So he would have done everything possible to pacify governors, especially from the south.
All right. Thank you, Chief Loveday. Stephen Degbara, do you believe Atiku has really done enough to pacify governors from the south, the G5 governors?
I think ordinarily I should be align them to fight. You know my disposition, my political interest. I'm a member of the APC, and Chief here is a member of the PDP, a chieftain of the PDP. And I know him very well. I know his political antecedents. This is not today I know him. So I know where he falls politically. So ordinarily I will allow them to, it's of my interest, it's of the advantage of the APC for them to quarrel. So but some of us, what we are saying is just an advice that will be good to them. And it's free one, and that they should be thanking us for giving them advice. So that if they are taking, they not sit here and cry more than they do.
Your advice is
or you want to cry over spilled milk. This is something that has happened. Atiku has come out to say that he's going to move on. They demanded that certain positions should be reserved for the South. And then they had given them BOT chairman of the party. That was not enough. He said BOT was mere advisory. That's the word Wike used. And then he was insisting on the head of IU. And then Atiku has come out to say that I don't have the powers to remove IU, because if I do, I'll be creating more problems to myself. And so when you look at all these back forth, it's just of their interest to just move on. I just advise here that, you see, the confusion in the midst of the PDP members in Rivers State, and of course those states that those G5 governors are from, is so much so that it is going to affect them as a political party, and that is to the advantage of the APC. So for me, it is of their interest to move on, and then forget about this hula baloo of Atiku or no Atiku. It just looks like you're begging. You're overflogging this issue. Clearly, Atiku has moved on. Clearly, yes, Wike and his group should also move on and do the same. Let them not continue to distort or disturb our ears with this Atiku, this PDP, this every day and there and there. Let them move on.
Thank you, Stephen.
Because the APC has moved on. let me remind you, Nnamdi, that they talked about the Muslim ticket of the APC. And then they forget. I'm very happy that he has alluded to the fact that the PDP had their own fair share of the challenge to have considered a northern candidate against the interests of the south. You know, the northerners have ruled for 8 years, and ordinarily it should go to the south. And that's what the APC is presenting to Nigerians. We have presented a qualified, credible candidate from the southern part of Nigeria. And so people are not talking about that. The PDP is a shadow of itself. They are a problem to themselves. They lack the capacity to organize themselves. They lack the will. Look at the way the APC has managed the issue of the Muslim ticket. It's of the advantage to the APC today.
Well, let's see, but it's still arguable. It's still arguable.
So when I give an advice, they should just really take it.
Let's see what will happen right now.
And are confused whether or not they're going to. As I speak to you, some of them don't know whether they're going to cast ballot for the Labour Party or not.
Okay, so Chief, let me take you on this Adebutu's matter. And he's come to deny the fact that he's asked the G5 governors to really find the way or leave the party, especially the person of Nyesom Wike. What do you make of this? Gochinyere has also come out also to say some things, and he has come out to also counter the statement, say he never said so.
You see, in politics, especially in Nigeria, people will come and make a statement, and even though their statement is not just audio but visual, they will still come to deny it. The only thing I can say here now is that I've not been privy to see the video where that statement was made or even the audio. I'm just hearing it. But judging the statement from what a typical Nigerian politician can do or what they do, I want to say that it could be one of those things too. He may have said it, he may not also have said it. But generalizing it, I believe that before such statement is raised, it may have been said, it must have been said somewhere. And anybody asking Governor Wike to leave PDP because he is asking for the resignation of Ayo is wasting his time. Because Governor Wike and others have come out in different fora to address the press, saying that they are not leaving PDP, that they will remain in PDP and fight for that which is their right, or the right of the people. They have said so. And anybody saying that Governor Wike and the G5 governor should move on, just like Atiku has moved on, is getting it wrong. Because this PDP is a political party.
But people have said
it's
that
a political party that belongs
is
to
not really
everybody.
fighting for the rights of the South, that is fighting for his personal interest.
Let me tell you, in politics, Nande, whether I like it or not, what drives your ambition, what drives your objective, first is your personal interest. What you want to become.
So we believe
and
that
it is
interest.
Hold on. It is true that your personal interest that can give you the opportunity to render service to the nation. As we speak now, Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, Kwakwaso, they are all wanting to be president of Nigeria. And it is their personal interest to be president of Nigeria. And it is through being president of Nigeria that they will now have the opportunity to serve the nation. Governor Wike have come up to say, to make it open that, look, I'm not going to be anything again now. Who becomes candidate of PDP is now a history. Atiku has gotten the ticket. But are you told us that if anybody becomes the flag bearer, maybe from North, that he will resign? So the man who came up to say that Governor Wike should leave PDP, and who has come to deny now, he's speaking from the point of his own faction to protect the faction we are in. Because I know anybody will come and say that they shouldn't talk about the issue again, because they are members of the party and they cannot be quiet over.
We have barely,
especially against the South.
We have barely 18 weeks to the elections.
Of course, it will continue on the end of the election.
Because Atiku said he has moved on.
And let me correct an impression. If anybody tells you that the followers of Wike, Makinde, Otom, Ugwanye, Ibazu do not know where the stand is completely wrong. Let me tell you, this is politics and everybody have his own strategy. In PDP, the followers of Wike, or Wike and his team cannot come to unveil their strategy to you because you are curious about it.
Right.
No. There's a strategy.
Okay,
and at the appropriate time, the strategy we convey is
Thank you
through
very
the ballot.
much. Thank you very much. Let's move over.
A quick word,
I hope we're going to make it very short because we have the other matters yet in for discussions
I
today.
assure you it's going to be very short.
Relax,
Chief, what I want to say is just to, what we are doing is just to assist them anyway.
Not assist us.
Quite clear. But if they don't want us to assist
We don't want it.
You must know, despite whatever you're doing, whether politics or not, you must understand when the ovation is loudest and you step aside in anything that you're doing. Governor Wike and Autumn and all his sympathizers, they have taken this fight. What demands you read said is not different from what Nigerians are saying. I have said it here. You can quote me.
But I'm part of the Nigerians now.
Hold on, sir. If the man has denied to say he didn't say so, I am saying here, I'm advising Governor Wike to resign from the PDP because obviously the demands that he has laid on the table is not going to be met. To resolve the issues that he has laid forth, have told us that they cannot do anything. So the only option for him is to move on.
Okay.
And so if the man there's controversy about him saying so or not, Stephen Degbara, I am saying that Governor Wike should move on.
All right.
Obviously,
Let's see.
because the PDP has moved on. He should understand the times and know when to draw the curtain, not to fight on and fight and lose the battle, because obviously he's heading to the precipice.
Thank you very much. We'll move over right now to the next issue on ground. This is the open conversation, and I've been speaking with Chief Loveday Okere and also Stephen Degbara. We have an issue on ground. Senator Dino Melaya is asking the NDLEA to take Tinubu Atiku to drug tests. Says the All Progressive Congress APC Presidential Campaign Council PCC has accused Atiku of offering a Greek gift to former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo to humiliate him by his suggestion that the former president's face should be on the planned new Naira notes. The party also said its candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is far healthier and better than that of the opposition People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. APC was reacting to a statement by Atiku's campaign team, which said Tinubu was not fit to govern the nation. Even Peter Obi has far more to offer than him. Atiku and his camp know that Jagaban will win this election hands down. As each day passes, it is getting clearer. Now, another quote again by Dino Melaya says, that is why they are so jittery. That is why they resort to nothing but falsehood, insults, and abuse. That is why the only thing they talk about is Jagaban's health and age. We want to campaign that centers on issues. But Atiku and his men do not even know the meaning of the word, said the APC Campaign Council. Now, spokesman of the PDP says Presidential Campaign Council Senator Dino Melaya had asked the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDAA, to subject both Atiku and Tinubu to a narcotic test. That's the issue on ground. And he also said some other things here. What do you think, or what's your reaction towards the Chief Loveday? Should both presidential candidates be subjected to a narcotic test or not?
Nanda, I want to tell you something. In my place, there is a saying that the rat will always ask the lizard, who always see the faces of human beings, to tell him how the faces of the human beings are in the morning, afternoon, and towards evening. Because the rat does not have the guts, the opportunity to see people's face, because once it does, you know what happens to the rat. Maybe Dino Melaya, I don't know. He that has raised such issue, I'm sure, may have known the characteristics of drug addicts. So I'm sure he may have suspected that, based on his experience, some people need to be tested. So otherwise, it will be very strange looking at the age of these candidates, looking at their antecedents. Drug tests, for me, should be the last thing that should be demanded of these particular candidates. Otherwise, there are so many other things that would have been demanded from these particular candidates. We have demanded for their clear blueprints, manifestos, and we are yet to see them on the streets of Nigeria. This is something that we should, in fact, even a ground seller should be able to have it handy, so that we know what you get to offer to Nigerians. This is diversionary, divisive, asking for this kind of I don't know what we'll get. After all, it is going to be a personal or a private thing between whomever that is affected and the doctors.
But you know they are public. They will be public office.
Of course,
holders.
yes.
And,
of course, yes.
It's said
and
open a sinner climb that your medical stand and your medical results actually should be open in sinner climb. And we don't really have that in Nigeria.
We should be more concerned about constitutional matters. I don't know in any part of the constitution that has made it mandatory that candidates should be subjected to drug tests, even though it's a welcome development, it's a good idea, but I don't know where it is contained in our constitution that candidates should be subjected to drug tests. And I don't know what Nigerians are going to, achieve from that at this particular moment. So it is diversionary, it is divisive, such kind of statement. But Dino Melayo, who knows the characteristics of drug addicts, should come up more and tell us more so that we will now get to believe to his own line. Perhaps he may have tested it, he may have known how they behave. Maybe Atiku and the Tinubu may have behaved in a way that he has suspected that they are on drug, so that Nigerians will now know that, look, these are the kind of drugs that these people have been taking, and we do not, they are not going there for Olympics, that where drugs are not allowed from athletes. These are people that are coming to govern Nigeria. And I know too well that there are some drugs that, doctors can prescribe to certain persons based on their health to help them. There are so many drugs that you cannot sell on the counter, but it is prescribed to keep certain persons going. So for him to have suggested that, he may have an idea of the characteristics of those who are under the influence of drug, how they behave. So I will say something further, maybe any day as today, when he come out to tell us more, perhaps why he should be able to choose Atiku and Tinubu without mentioning Obi and Kwakwanso in line, because it would have been a general test for all of them. But why did he select Atiku and Tinubu alone? Because I only had you read the two names. Otherwise, it should be a general thing if it is going to affect everybody, because there may be drug addicts that are hidden than these two aged men who are contesting to govern Nigeria as president today.
Thank you very much. Stephen, there's been this mudslinging and also this talkback, and especially on the presidential candidate of the APC, which his health matters have been on the front burner, on the chopping board when it comes to analysis and issues really raised concerning him. And that was Dino Melaye that's come up to say that this candidate should be tested, to know who is really healthier or who is on the drugs. Do you also toe the same line with Chief Loveday Okere, or you have a different view concerning this?
I want to take from the point where he said that maybe the characteristics of those persons to have, define who or how the people that take drugs behave, and then in that manner, that is why he could be suggesting, such kind of recommendations for these two candidates. Because if I want to take from that point, what is happening in the PDP is synonymous with the attitude of Dino Melaye. Between Dino Melaye and these two gentlemen, these men you have mentioned, can you tell Nigerians, Nnamdi, who actually has a character that is synonymous with one that is being influenced by drugs? Obviously, the answer is in the public domain. Because if you see how Dino Melaye behaves in the public, you could clearly understand the kind of mentality he has. And of course, I say this, probably that's the reason why they can't resolve their issues within the PDP. Because maybe that's the characteristics of members of the PDP. You will see our own governor, the Governor Wike, His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, stand in the altar and say, thunder, fire, you are followers. Maybe doing videos of himself, saying certain uncount words and statements that is not worthy to be consumed by the public. And these are the things that he does, and it is not, and I agree, that could be more reason why they cannot resolve their issues. They cannot resolve issues. You see a governor that raised his hands on the podium at the Eagle Square or venue of their presidential primary to say that if he lost to anybody, he's going to support whoever wins. Is he practicing what he's doing today?
Are you aware that even the person of...
Hold on. We have seen in APC when people lost their primaries to Tinubu, and today you hadn't any quarrel in the APC as to whether they accept who the candidate is or not. But today the PDP is still protracting. So who is to take the drugs?
So are you aware that even the person...
What advice has Dino Melaye given to Atiku to try to see how he can resolve the challenges within the party? That today they cannot resolve their own challenges. We are still talking about the division of whether they are going to vote for Atiku or not. But in the APC, you could see orderliness. And let me tell you, these are the kind of things that we Nigerians are talking. And I agree with Chief Lovely that we should be talking about the issues. And that's obviously the response of the APC. Because we have seen the Jagaban talked about his renewed hope manifesto.
And he has never used words like shut up.
You know, he has
never used words like shut up before.
No, I'm not aware of that. He has come out in different fora, dressed neatly and behaved neatly, addressed his audience. Only recently he was...
Are you sure he has never used words that are derogatory in public, that has made the person of Dino Melaye to even say that he should be subjected to drug test?
Dino Melaye should tell us, because we will tell you 1,001 words from Dino Melaye that suggest for us to believe that he is actually the one that is insane here. We have seen a Tinubu that has been everywhere. Only recently, I'm a member of the Presidential Campaign Council of the APC. And I speak with you. He was in Lagos talking to the business community. He stayed in Kaduna for over 3 days talking to different groups. He has been there, and Atiku is also doing the same. So when he hears...
So are you aware also that they use the words like the church rat and the communion? Is that not really a derogatory statement to the Christian community?
No. You would not understand, because you know I was very attentive to Chief here when he was giving us a parable. Sometimes when people speak the way because you must ask elders, and I kept quiet because I know he knew better. He's a traditional, he's a community leader, and he understands. What you have just said may be offensive to some persons if you didn't understand what he was talking about, rats and all of those things. But you know, when people don't understand what Tinubu was communicating, and that's why the thing didn't generate...
Was it really coherent?
No, it was.
How do you prove that this was really coherent?
It was never offensive.
And it was offensive,
no,
because some people in the Christian domain and the Christian community didn't find that word very funny.
The challenge we have these days is that young people don't read. They don't listen to elders. They don't research to know that these are the things that that communicate.
Right. Thank you, Stephen.
In a colloquial
Stephen, you've had your time. Thank you. Let me just stop it there. Chief Lovely, very few words, because another one we have to go into.
Yes, very quick. I was thinking that this conversation was going to be limited to the character of Dino Melaye and the two presidential candidates that he brought to the front burner. But my friend Stevie here tried to drag Governor Wike somehow into it. You see, I have said here before that something about the character of Nigerian politicians when they make statements and the way they behave. You see, because you begin to expand, you will also understand that the former governor of Rivers State, who is of APC, the likes of Governor Rotimi Amechi, also in the stadium, sometime 2015 or 2019, was there singing war song? All those kind of a thing. War song.
What's the meaning of that? What's the meaning?
You could also interpret to the... Okay,
no, wait. Let me. I'm okay. I'm for the mic.
Stephen, hold on.
You see, I told that.
Hold on, Stephen. Don't worry. Hold on.
I said I was thinking that we will limit it to the issue that we are discussing here. But you saw how you brought in Governor Wike, that he made a statement in church.
Yes.
I'm telling you that.
Hold on, Stephen. Let him land.
And because we're talking about the characters of drug addicts here, or people that suggest that they are on influence of drug. And I told you that sometime Governor Rotimi Amechi was in Amesemeke Stadium, where he was singing war song, something like that. It was a war song. And again, just this year, Tonyeko jumped inside the vehicle through the window. Through the window when he saw the vehicle and jumped through the... I can show you the video. So these are the things that, you see, we don't need to expand this thing.
I saw that video. In your own opinion, what is wrong with that?
Everything is wrong about it.
What
Everything is wrong about jumping through the window inside a moving vehicle. Can you do it as a normal person? Wait, can you
okay,
do
so
it?
you mean that's actually a disposition of someone that's not normal?
Thank you. If you
No,
ask,
you-
if you that can do that, under normal circumstances, you may not be able to do it. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't want us to drag the issue,
Okay.
Aside the characters that we are discussing now.
All right.
In the person of Dino Melayo, who has refused to bring in the issues that concerns the welfare of Nigerians. I was talking about drug tests to Atiku and the what are we going to benefit from that?
We'll hold it there right now. We'll hold on that matter. We'll move over right now to another matter that took place in Abuja. A delegation of Abuja-based pastors and bishops on Sunday threw their weight behind the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who they described as having the right frame of mind to rule the country. But hours after the endorsement, the Christians Association of Nigeria, CAN, kicked against the move, saying CAN is standing on its earlier stance of no to same ticket or same faith ticket. They does with some party chieftains of Tinubu's support group, City Boy Movement. In a statement jointly signed by the coalition made Apostle Babatunde Ogunti Main and Secretary Reverend Friday Obi, the ministers disclosed that it would be unfair for Nigerians to sacrifice the capacity of the APC candidate on the altar of the contentious Muslim ticket. Well, we'll hold it there right now. You've seen this issue on ground. Stephen, before you really make it talk about this, it looks like, in quote, the APC are not relenting on having that they've been guilty about several things they've done to the Christian community, and that's why they're making so much efforts to make sure they gather them into their coffers to have their votes, since they have the issues of the same faith ticket that is still haunting them as we speak.
It's actually haunting us.
Because everybody...
Just organizations. What CAN should do is to root for the interest of CAN, those ones that they have decided to support, and not to come and begin to criticize those that may have endorsed, because obviously they don't have the control over all the pastors. So when people were talking about bishops being dressed in bishopric attires and all, they are not denying membership of CAN, I quoted it because I knew that it is not all the pastors that are registered with CAN. I gave an example that if you turn this street, just walk on this street, you will see plethora of churches. How many of those churches have registration with CAN? Those people have the right to either join who they want to do. And these are the things we are talking about. They have raised critical issues that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the capacity, it has the temperament to rule this country. If CAN differs, they should tell us who they want. Then Nigerians will follow, or those that are sympathetic to CAN should follow.
Bishop Onayeko just said that it's an opportunity for them.
If you criticize another group for supporting the other group, it then means that you have an interest in this thing. I have told you before, and of course it is very clear that it's plain out now that CAN is playing the opposition script. They should tell Nigerians that they are supporting solo person. Talking about Muslim ticket is not what Nigerians are talking about now. Chief here said that we want to talk about the manifesto, what the ordinary man on the street will be able to communicate with. How will their life change? That's what we're talking about. Once a while in this country, we have the Bashir Tofa and the Abiola ticket. Nobody talked about Muslim, whatever. They talked about competency and they voted for who they believe.
But the Nigeria of that time is not the Nigeria of today.
Will you be telling Left Okere that the PDP people should not vote for Atiku and Okowa ticket because they are both of they have deviated from the arrangement of the Southern leadership? That's not what Nigerians are talking about. Governor Wike, for example, has said that he has accepted the fact that there is a candidate and there's nothing anybody can do about it. It is left for Nigerians to talk about the credibility of these people that we are throwing forth. What are there in their manifesto, their blueprints that Nigerians can connect with? What it is that they have promised Nigerians that they can do better? Can we have electricity in our homes? Can we have our GDP improved? Can we have quality health facilities in this country, education, access to education, and every other indices that you can talk about in terms of growth of SMEs and all of those things? These are the issues that Nigerians are talking about. And Nigerians are presenting candidates. Political parties are presenting candidates. And with the APC, we have presented the Bola Tinubu telling you that when he was governor of Lagos State, he set up foundation. He laid the foundation that today,
thank you so
Lagos
much, Stephen.
alone is the biggest economy in Africa.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
Talk about Nigeria.
Chief
so
Loveday,
these are the things we can do.
because of our time, Chief Loveday, do you think that CAN is actually playing the opposition script, or they are just being firm on their stance against same-faith ticket, because they've come out to say that they cannot really want to have a visit or a concert visit to the presidency, and they don't have a Christian representative as the vice president or the president in the House of Vida.
Well, members of CAN are Nigerians. The ones who also fell into the Islamic religion, they are also Nigerians. And nobody will tell me that anybody will be able to sell his idea that will make everybody, either in the Islamic section or the Christian section, to believe in one thing. Nobody. And the last time I checked, one of a vocal voice that has been speaking for CAN, in the person of Bishop Kuka from Sokoto State, is a pro-Tinubu. I stand to be corrected. And he's a strong member of CAN. He's been a vocal. He has been speaking for CAN.
Have you heard a recent statement by Bishop Onayekon?
You see, I'm talking about Kuka here now.
Part of CAN.
I'm talking about Kuka here now. Kuka has come up openly to speak in favor of Tinubu. Okay? Despite whatever. But one thing I want to say is that at the beginning of this race, political parties may have taken into considerations in these 6 that will make them win elections. They may have taken into consideration all these things. This is one thing people do not understand. And that was why a traditional fundamental error was committed by APC and PDP by choosing a northerner to succeed a northerner, and also choosing, that is for PDP, and also choosing Christian, Muslim ticket for APC. These are traditional errors, offense committed against Nigerians. But the political parties have come up. What they are trying to do now is to remedy the situation. How do you go about it to remedy it? Another thing. Because Stephen said here that it has happened before, Muslim, and in the person of Tofa and Abiola, and they won election. Today, it is happening again. And the people are saying, we did this because we consider several things. But for me, because we have debated on these issues long time ago, and we need to move on to what are the issues on ground. What have these presidential candidates, what are their agenda for Nigeria in the next 4 years? What do they have in stock? What kind of experience do they have? And I've been hearing P2B speaking. It guarantees a solid building, a sustainable building for a longer period. I'm a Bola Tinubu, I'm a member of PDP. But as a man who demands for good governance, I will have to be objective when analyzing character of individuals. So, I'm a Bola Tinubu has been tested as a governor, and he did very well in Lagos State. Now he's a member of APC.
It's the argument to some people, also in
of course, yes. This is my personal opinion, based on what I have understood about Nigerian government and governance. And today he's a member of APC, and he has not been part of the government of Muhammad Buhari. He has not been part of it, even though you may say he's a prominent citizen of APC, yes, but he has not served as a minister, he has not served as a... Yes, he has not been part of the government of Buhari.
Are you sure? Because let me go to Stephen, because he said he's part of those who really brought them into power.
You see, what he did was he contributed by suggesting persons like the vice president.
So are you not part of it?
And Yemo Osinbajo, when you look at the antecedent of Yemo Osinbajo in this office, the way he has done things, the Nigerians has given him credit that he has done well, having come from Lagos State. That is not to say that Bola Tinubu is the best. I'm not saying that, but I'm telling you what I've known about him. Now, if you also bring Obi, I'm also saying this because it's just matter of you brought issue of Tinubu. If you also bring Obi, if you x-ray Obi, you also see so many good things coming out of Obi. Now, I have a presidential candidate in my party, in the person of Atiku. That is why we have been worried to say, this man, you say you are unified, unify us. And now, stop running away from issues when your people to govern us as a president. You should have a limit. Today, if you go to Benue State, people are crying over the kind of
Thank you, Chief.
intimidation from in the hands of
Let me
herdsmen.
take Stephen. It's actually very difficult for you to convince the Nigerians today that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not really or is not part of President Buhari's administration. One way or the other, he may not be one of the ministers or so, but he has also said that he's part of those who brought President Buhari into office. And if he's part of those who brought President Buhari into office, we've not really seen him made any contribution to remedy some situations that this present administration have been accused of. You've seen the matters that Chief Lovely, what the dollar is to a naira, how much it is for a bag of rice, and the rest of the issues was not part of the contribution to the issues that Nigerians are actually facing today in the country. Stephen Diegbara.
Chief Lovely has actually made my job easier, especially on this subject matter. You know, you see a Bola Ahmed Tinubu that has made a foundation in Lagos State. He had the foundation of leadership that has been very consistent, more than any other state in Nigeria. You see a governor after Tinubu Fashola, you saw him perform excellently well, almost more than the way Tinubu had performed. When you leave Fashola and we had an Ambode
from Omahia, which Malami, all of them were struggling to interpret. And at the end of the day, what was the provision in the Act and the Constitution prevailed. So I want to beg Nigerians, I want to beg CSOs, I want to beg everybody to be very, very patient with INEC, because this particular electoral act is the first of its kind. While it has not been practiced before, this is the first time we are going to have a partial electronic transmission system in our election. So, and I believe that after this 2023 election, there will still be improvements. Instead, what are we urge CSOs and other concerned stakeholders to do is look at in Osun and the Ekiti State, even Anambra State, using this present electoral act. And I'm sure that people did not see any too much of wrongdoing from the part of INEC, even though there were challenges. So for me, the only thing I want to say is that let us encourage INEC, let us continue to advise, let us INEC do your work without bias, do your work without fear or favor, so that Nigerians will not be suspecting you of any kind of foul play, even when nothing, the election time is still in 2023. That's all I want to say here.
Oh, okay, thank you, Chief Loveday. Stephen, now, we've seen an issue on ground where the CSOs and political parties are actually pushing forward to really put INEC on their toes because of some matters really raised about public view of results. Now, let me give you this narration. It says, as part of its directive principles of managing Nigeria's elections, the leadership of INEC is empowered to deploy as it deems fit every and any administrative step to ensure fair, free, and credible elections. The administrative mechanisms is for internal.
They came out to say this is what they can do. Like what you read, he said, as INEC may deem fit. And this is the law that empower them to decide how and where and when and what they are going to do to, let us be patient with INEC. Nigerians are so hasty in their conclusions. Only yesterday, like he alluded to the election, these are the apprehensions that concerns people we are raising. But at the end of the day, they came out to applaud INEC. Even the CSOs, they were the first to adjudge INEC in their conduct in the Osun State as one of the best. In Anambra State, they did the same thing. In the other Ekiti State, they also alluded to the fact that INEC came up with their best. So now we have come with a new electoral regime with the introduction of the vast machine. We are evolving as a people.
These are pathetic to political parties.
Okay, so let's see how this really unfolds in the next issue we have to talk about. Now, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has said he is not worried about the popularity of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, LP, PDP, Peter Obi. Atiku stated this in an interview with one of the national radio houses, and he says that we can't feed also some other issues he's raised. He says that absolutely not. It doesn't worry me. He says because the demography of the youth varies from region to region, and it is not in all regions of the country that the predominance of the youth is moving towards labor in south or southeast. Now, let's hold it there at this time. Well, I want to take a comments. We have just barely 3 or 4 minutes to go on the event today.
I've said before on this platform that what we are seeing in the obedient movement is just a storm in the teacup. That when, like they said in our normal Nigerian palace, when jungle mature, you will see that the things will change. Like we have just been here since morning, the conversations has always been within Tinubu and Atiku. You can see clearly that the something is beginning to fade away, because it is actually these are the contenders actually. What I agree with Atiku 100%, that his seeming popularity is something not to worry about, because they have come up with a lot of what they call demographics to qualify to say that opinion polls to say that those are urbanized pools. Go to my village. Go to I passed the change today. I didn't see any poster of Peter Obi or the Labour Party.
Didn't Fitch organize a poll also, and the poll was tilting towards a Tinubu, and you had some people who also criticize that poll.
One of the things that Fitch identified was that the so-called poll that was earlier done didn't consider
the criteria, all that if we put together to make somebody